Thank you all for joining. Thank you, panelists, for your time and commitment to this and to sustainability. It means the world to us, so thank you. But welcome everyone to Climb Fund's webinar on sustainable practices for your small business, where knowledge sharing takes center stage. At Climb Fund, we're embracing sustainability as an integral part of our goals. We've composted over 4,200 pounds since adopting composting initiatives, showcasing our commitment to reducing waste and promoting environmental stewardship. Additionally, we've ramped up our volunteer efforts in the community, contributing to local sustainability projects. Transitioning away from single-use plastics is another milestone in our sustainability journey as we strive to minimize our ecological footprint. Moreover, we prioritize understanding our clients' sustainability efforts by interviewing them to tailor our support and resources effectively, ensuring we empower them to enhance sustainability within their businesses. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay. Today, we have an incredible lineup of speakers who will share invaluable insights. We'll start with Gaddy from Atlyss Food Co., showcasing how sustainability is integrated into every aspect of her business. Here's people. All right. Then Meghan McGill from Smart Recycling. Feedback. Okay. Excuse me. Then Meghan McGill from Smart Recycling will enlighten us on the simplicity of composting for small businesses. Last but not least, we'll hear from Rick Crawford with Emerger Strategies, who will guide us on their services and its benefits, along with strategies for enhancing sustainability. But before we dive into our speakers' presentations, let's kick things off with a Climb Fund Client Spotlight video featuring Fisher Recycling, illustrating the transformative power of glass recycling for small businesses in the Tri-County area.
Well, thank you for coming in. I'm Chris Fisher, Fisher Recycling and Glass Eco Surfaces. My wife and I were selling t-shirts in the market every day, and we sold a bunch of t-shirts to Mark and Jerry, the owners of the T-Bones Restaurant Group. And they were the only people in town taking the recycling every day by themselves. And I approached Mark and Jerry and said, well, I can do that for you. And went out and bought a $1,500 pickup truck and some trash cans, and then went door to door from there. The Climb Fund was the best resource that I could find at the time. I needed funding to expand the truck and to buy a dump truck because I was doing everything by hand, dumping it by hand and unloading it by hand. So by going to the Climb Fund, I was able to purchase a bigger vehicle that dumped all the glass. So it was a great step of growth for the company. Well, we have Glass Eco Surfaces where we're repurposing the glass now, and Elizabeth, my wife, is manufacturing one-of-a-kind glass countertops, walls, indoor, outdoor, and she's just done an amazing job with the business. Small and local businesses should care about recycling because A, it helps the planet, it helps our low country, and we do the right thing. It's what drives everything that we do. It's the way we do business and how we do business. If we can preserve any part of glass or plastic or paper, whatever we can do to do the right thing with recycling or just the way we live all the way around. You know the Charleston County Blue Bins. They compete directly with us, and they collect the glass and throw 100% of the glass away. What goes in that bin goes to the landfill. So we are trying to change that model and create our own glass-only collection programs. So we take that out of the landfill and reuse it or recycle it. The best part of the experience when I brought my business plan in, it was let's say, redlined. And because what I didn't know is how to write a business plan, how to develop the profit and loss, how to show how this was going to make money. And it changed the way I did business. It really helped guide me in the right direction and make it so I was able to get the loan and understand what I needed to do to make it a profitable business. It was a big help. I would like to thank the Climb Fund for letting us start and create it. We couldn't have done it without them. So the good thing about that is it offers an opportunity for businesses from anywhere, any walk of life to grow and develop and make new things happen and create jobs all the way around. And you can do the right thing. The Climb Fund helps.
All right. Um, yeah, when Bo Brown and I went and visited Fisher Recycling, and it was very inspiring. They love what they do. They love giving back to the community, and like they said, they want to do the right thing. So thank you. So for our first panelist, we will have Jenny with Atlyss Food Co. A look into sustainability in a small business. Jenny, she is one of our Climb Fund clients, and it's been great working with her. And it's been great to see how her business has exploded with success. So I can't wait for you all to hear about her.
Can everybody hear me? Is that good? Okay. I guess we could go, yeah. So just a little bit about Atlyss. We started 5 years ago as a weekly meal delivery service. When I'm originally from Washington State, and when I came to Charleston, I was cooking in restaurants. Before that, I had been cooking on boats, and the amount of waste in the industry just really hurt my soul. Like, I love food. I love working with it. I grew up being very connected with the land, and it was just it was hard for me because growing up, we always had a backyard composting bin, and my dad raised bees, and we had chickens and a big backyard garden, and my mom made all of our food. And so food to me was something, it's like part of my love language amongst my connection to the earth. And so working in all of these restaurants and seeing how much packaging waste there was, on top of how just all of the food getting put into the trash, I wanted to start a business that helped busy parents and professionals um, with feeding themselves, but also it being delicious and healthy and fresh and coming from the low country. So at Atlyss, we're committed to creating delicious, nutrient-dense meals in the most sustainable and regenerative way possible. Our goal is to show that healthy eating isn't just a necessity, it's an enjoyable part of life. So we can go to the next slide. At Atlyss, these are some of our sustainability initiatives. Compost is at the core of what we do. It's one of the most important things to us. So I also, through the success of Atlyss, was able to purchase a commercial kitchen in North Charleston, which I have 28 tenants here. So we enacted, or when I bought the building and took over, I wanted to help share with them as well the importance of composting. If we are part of the food industry, we need to be stewards of the land and do our part. Since we're working with the food, that should be going back to it. So we actually work with Smart Recycling, and they provide our composting service for both at the commercial kitchen here and at the cafe that we opened in June, it will be a year ago. So that's part of it. Community, that's another huge aspect of sustainability, in my opinion, is supporting the community as best as possible. I think one of our success is everybody's success. One of the most influential things that I ever heard in a podcast that I listened to was, if one person is successful, it doesn't mean that there isn't room for you to be successful. It actually means that there's more room. It shows a way, we don't know that which we don't know. And so by getting to see how another person does it, we can take that, learn from it, and hopefully create more ease within ourselves. So with that being said, we carry other local food artisans' goods, both through our meal delivery service as well as in our cafe. We donate all of our excess food to shelters like 180 Place. And then there's the Union Gospel Mission that's right next to the cafe. And yeah. Then compostable packaging. So that was another big thing, as I said. The amount of packaging waste, with seeing all of these other meal delivery services out there, really was a painful thing for me. So I wanted to try to figure out a solution to that. I went through thinking about using glassware and all of these different options, but the glassware, it just, I couldn't, at the time of starting, I couldn't figure out a way to do it in an economical and sustainable way of practice for the business itself, like for operations, from an operations standpoint. So 98% of the packaging that we use is compostable. The other 2%, like our juice jars and some of our juice or our soup containers, is reusable. So we do the milk person system. We take back the glassware that our juice bottles come in, and then we wash, sanitize, and reuse those. All of our cooler bags that we deliver in are reusable. All of our cold packs, we don't get the gel ones. We've invested in a little higher end reusable cooler packs. And then sourcing, we build our dishes based on seasonal local produce. Again, we live in a year-round growing, or we live in a place that has a year-round growing season. So just, again, supporting the community and getting that nutrient-dense food. You're not going to find that if you're sourcing something from Mexico. It just loses some of the nutrients over time, as well as it really just is most important how the farm operates itself. So sourcing from regenerative farms. And then education, we try our very best to, through Instagram, through our weekly mail service that we send out, through just like one-on-one interactions at the cafe, educating all of our customers on the importance of composting, the importance of doing your part, the importance of just reminding yourself that you, like, those small things do add up, and also educating the team to remind them as well to stay on mission, to be able to feel like they're connected to it. And then health and wellness. I really value health. I think it is the best thing that we can do, one, for the planet, but also for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the community. So having that mindset of valuing the life that you have, valuing the ingredients that you use, valuing where they come from, how nutrient dense they are, is living a life that's enriching and enriched, versus, choosing, which again, we all splurge, but trying to understand, to sustain yourself first and foremost, you have to fuel yourself in a healthy manner. So one of our slogans is take care of her, take care of us. We can go to the next slide. So fulfillment and purpose, this is myself and with the background at the cafe, and then Lauren, Spencer, and Zach, they were part of the management team and leadership team. And just, we found that by having the mission that we do, I'm very involved in the business itself. It's just made everybody that is drawn to come and work with us, drawn to it not only for the environment itself, but for the mission that we have. So having and knowing our why, having a why that goes beyond monetary needs, as well as a creative expression. It's a stewardship to, sorry, I'm getting messages. It is a stewardship and having a harmonious relationship with Earth, the core of what nourishes and houses us. Go to the next slide. And retrospect, insight. I will definitely admit that I am somebody that likes to learn the hard way. So when I went into forming Atlyss, I worked 2 jobs to fund being able to start it. It was very challenging, but it was my greatest passion. So I think the amount of passion that you have directly, most of the time directly, parallels the success that you will have. But with that being said, when I start something new, or if and when I start something new, it will definitely be having taken everything that I've learned and doing it in a bit more easeful manner. So that being said, it's just always having grace with yourself and your team, by being able to start slow and understand that you are going to make a mistake. You can't do it all at once. So just being realistic and figuring out a way to do it in a sustainable way that fits into your business. Having a strong foundation and clear vision of how you're going to implement it. I would say extremely important. And then education is key. Educate your team in a way where they understand the difference, and the importance of sustainable initiatives and why they're being implemented. So again, creating that connection to the why. So some of the resources that we personally use is that we partner with Compost Now. So all of our customers get a free month of composting service with them. By being a customer of ours, we tried for a really long time to find a way to close the loop of being able to collect the compost, but we just haven't figured that out yet. We are still a small and growing company, so the free month is the best way we found right now, is to hopefully get them in the door, figure out how easy it is, that it's quite inexpensive, and also sharing with them that there's the Charleston composting pilot program. So the locations around the city where you can go drop off your compost and it's free. Smart recycling is what we use in our business settings. Sustain SC is a great way to connect with other businesses to focus on sustainable practices. And then this was just a link to the city of Charleston, and the sustainable initiatives that they have created and suggestions that they have for small businesses. Yeah. I guess the one last thing that I was going to end with it's really cool. Once you get into it, you'll notice how small of a community and how connected of a community we are. Rick and his wife Jody are customers of ours. Like I said, we use Megan with Smart Recycling for our business. And then actually the countertop that we have in our cafe was from sorry, I'm forgetting their name right now, the people that showed at the very beginning. So all very cool, interesting that we're all connected in lots of ways. So, oh, and then the last thing I was going to say was just that one thing that I'm excited to hear what Rick has to say, but the challenges that we're still facing are, I wish that there were more tax incentives or government funded programs for small businesses doing that are green. I would love, I don't have the time, nor do I understand how to write a grant, how to find a grant for, again, being a business that wants to, and it is doing or has sustainable practices. And then the government supporting small farms and restaurants and people in the food industry for buying locally and supporting the community. Would love to just hope that one day, and curbside composting in Charleston, 100% would love that. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I totally agree. I think we're every day we're getting closer to curbside composting. It's really ramping up across the country, especially in Charleston. So we're almost there, fingers crossed. But thank you so much again, Jenny, for sharing your insights and your background and your story. We really appreciate it. I personally love how you use local food products, not only that helps local food producers, but it connects people and your customers to the community and to the land. And so thank you. And thank you for everyone who's entered questions into the chat. We'll wait until the end to answer all questions. Oh, thanks, Keontae. Next, we have Megan with Smart Recycling. She is a rock star, and I'm excited for y'all to learn more about Smart Recycling, its services, and some educational aspects. So take it away, Megan.
Thank you, Emily. And Jenny, I just want to say I visited the cafe the other day, and that Fisher Recycling countertop was gorgeous. So, so Smart Recycling, here's an overview of what I'm going to focus on for today. We'll talk about who Smart Recycling is, what we do, and what we offer to the community. And then we'll go over ways that you as a business can make your waste streams more sustainable. And also I'm going to focus on the landfill user fees, what that is, how it affects your bottom line, and how you might actually be able to include more sustainable practices in your waste streams and either save money or, have a net zero effect to your bottom line. So that's going to be my focus for today. Next. So who is Smart Recycling? We are a food waste hauler for commercial businesses in Charleston, but also throughout the Carolinas. So we have services currently in Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Columbia, and the upstate. And we've also entered the Raleigh, North market. So if you have multiple locations or someone in those areas, we support those as well. We help businesses close that gap so that, especially if you're a restaurant and you've got a farm to table ethos, we can help you make that table to farm as well and complete that circular economy, keeping everything local. We have customers such as restaurants, hospitals, hotels, industrial facilities, as well as schools and universities. We have programs to fit the needs of both small cafes and restaurants, all up to big customers like Boeing and Volvo. And in 2022, our partners diverted over 1,800 tons of organic waste from the landfill, and that, of course, just keeps growing. that's definitely the kind of large scale system change we need to effectively combat the climate. And as I mentioned, many of our partners are able to enjoy our services while also having a net zero cost effect on their bottom line. So we're going to talk about how that might be possible for you. Next. Okay. So the Charleston County landfill user fee. You may or may not realize you're paying this, especially if maybe you rent the building you're in, but even if you're renting, you might have a lease where you're paying the expenses. And so this bill may or may not already be familiar to you, and you may or may not realize how you can effectively change this bill and the amount that it is every year. So I wanted to kind of go into that because there's been a big increase this year. So over a 50% increase to this fee. It went from $172 per square yard. Now it's up to $260 per square yard. And that is based on the amount of waste you're sending to the landfill, or technically it's based on the number of dumpsters that are tipped for you to send to the landfill. So number one question here, obviously this affects Charleston County businesses. So if you are located in Charleston County, this is especially helpful information. And then if you are in Charleston County, did you realize that your business could be getting recycling services for free? So Charleston County does offer recycling to all of the businesses within county limits, so at no cost. So if you have a business in Charleston County and you didn't realize that or aren't taking advantage of the services, call Charleston County Recycling, give them a call and find out how to access those services. All right, next slide. So how to be more sustainable and hopefully decrease your solid waste expenses. Step one, I would recommend that you perform a waste audit so you can see what you're throwing away. Evaluate what are you throwing away that could have been recycled. Are you throwing away a lot of food that could be A, donated, or B, composted? Then, of course, as I mentioned, take advantage of free recycling services when they're available. But don't forget that even if they're not free, it could still decrease that landfill fees in the future. So it's still, a cost. You want to do an analysis and determine if that cost makes sense for you. And of course, if you're here, you probably care about being sustainable. So long story short, you want to build that into your platform. So at the end of the day, we want to make choices that create sustainable practices and a sustainable business as well. Then step three, obviously, if you do have food waste, you can add smart recycling. Maybe you're a restaurant, you have more food waste, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're a different type of business, you have an office. But if you have, for example, a break room, a lunch room of some kind, we have services of different sizes. And then if you really have a small need, maybe smart recycling isn't the best fit for you, that you might want to reach out to Compost Now. As Jenny mentioned, they service mostly residential customers. But Smart has programs for many different size businesses, and we can work with you to find the best fit for you. Step four, make changes to your product purchases when available. So once you've done an evaluation of that waste stream and you see what you're throwing away, is there anything that you could change that is recyclable or compostable? If you're using some sort of utensils, does it make sense to use something that can be washed and reused? If not, would it make sense to switch to something compostable and then put those in a food waste bin to be composted? Just make sure you are evaluating your options and making purchase decisions based on where that's going to end up in your waste stream. And then step five, if you've done all these other things, it's time to renegotiate your solid waste dumpster hauling contract to fit your needs. So if you suddenly started recycling and then also maybe started recycling food waste, chances are you no longer either need the size dumpster you started with or the frequency of service. So that's one place to start saving money if you renegotiate that dumpster contract to fit your new needs. And then I'm going to talk more about why that is the key to decreasing that user fee. So the landfill user fee and how it's calculated. It's an annual bill. It's based on what that waste hauler, what your landfill dumpster waste hauler, whomever that is, if it's Republic or Waste Management, all of them report to the county the size of the dumpster you have and how often they empty it. And so it's really important to note here, you're not paying a fee based on what actually goes to the landfill. If that dumpster is empty or almost empty, you're paying the same fee, whether it's empty or full. If they tipped it, they're telling the county they emptied it, and that's what that fee is based on. So it's how big your dumpster is and how frequently it's emptied. And I've got a little example here at the bottom of how that's calculated. So one 4-yard dumpster emptied twice a week, you're taking 4 yards, multiplying it times 2, and then that fee, that $260. So every year in this scenario, you'd be getting an annual bill from Charleston County for $2,080. So, you know, take that and figure out what dumpster you have, and you can calculate it that way. And again, if maybe you don't own your property and you're renting, your landlord is still paying this fee. And so if you could get them to change your dumpster usage, perfect example. So a lot of landlords and businesses everywhere are seeing this increased fee this year. They just got their bills. And so I'm experiencing a lot of them trying to figure out ways to cut that cost. And so, for example, Smart Recycling rents the office space where we are currently, and that happened for our landlord. And so they were trying to figure out how, like, are we actually using the dumpsters as much as they thought? And so luckily I knew about this. And so I was able to work with them, monitor what's going in the dumpsters, convince them to put in a recycling dumpster and decrease the number of tips on the other dumpster. And so they were able to, you know, bring back how often they're getting that emptied. So that's going to decrease this bill next year, but also introduce recycling. And unfortunately, our office isn't in Charleston County. So that's something, you know, that our landlord and eventually us has to pay for to have that recycling done. But it will still make a difference on this landfill user fee. And therefore, they decided to go ahead and do that. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of ways to decrease your other costs to help make up for the cost of smart recycling. And we've had several restaurants tell us that they have either seen savings or have a net zero effect due to being able to renegotiate these other items. And as I mentioned, you know, how much you divert. We have programs for small kitchens. We have programs for larger businesses. I highlighted both Climb Fund and Atlyss Co. are customers of ours. And so this was their diversion from last month. We send this information to all our customers every single month, letting them know how much they are diverting from the landfill. So we have a program that we can fit for everyone. And if you are interested in learning more or you want to know, but you're not ready to give me a call, we actually have an instant quote feature on our website. So if you go to smartrecyclingus.com, there's an instant quote button at the top. And all you do is put in a little bit of information, kind of where you're located, what type of business you are, and then a guess at how many carts you would need, how frequently you would need service. And that will give you instantly, as the name says, a quote to give you an idea of what service would cost for you. And then, of course, we would help you evaluate if that's the right fit. Is that, you know, more service needed or less service needed, and help you size that program for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you for sharing the background on smart recycling and what services you offer. The user fee you explained very well really blows my mind. And I know that small business owners are trying to reduce costs anywhere they can. So sharing that information to small business owners and anyone is very important. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Rick Crawford with Emerger Strategies, and he's going to give a background on who he is, how he got here, and what the services that Emerger Strategies offer. Take it away.
All right. Well, thanks for the opportunity to be here, and love learning more. I'm a big fan of Atlyss, great meals, and smart recycling, really good information. So thanks for sharing. So my name's Rick Crawford. I'm the president of Emerger Strategies, founder of Fly Fishing Climate Alliance, and host of the Sustainable Angler podcast. Next slide, please. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the story of kind of how this all came to be, but I launched Emerger Strategies in 2016, and we are a sustainable business consultancy whose mission is to measure and improve your company's sustainability performance, all while boosting profits. And so ultimately, I'm a fly fishing nut, so I started my company to protect what I love. So next slide, please. So sort of my personal sustainability journey began back in 2008. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia, and had an opportunity to move out west, got introduced to fly fishing, became perhaps unhealthily obsessed with it. And about the same time, also someone had given me a copy of Let My People Go Surfing by Patagonia founder Yvon Chouinard. So I highly recommend reading this book if you're interested in sustainability and building a culture around sustainability. But that essentially was sort of an aha moment when I figured out that, hey, we could actually use businesses as a way to solve environmental problems and protect what we love in the process. So it also happens that whenever you learn to read a river, for trout in this case, it's a really good crash course in systems thinking, because you have to understand entomology and reading a river and what the weather's doing and temperature. And so it's a really, I think system thinking is sort of a prerequisite to really understanding sustainability. Next slide, please. So I decided I wanted to get into sustainability. I was living out west. I had no idea how to do that. So I started installing solar panels. And through that process of saying, okay, I'm kind of got my foot in the door a little bit. I'm not sure this is exactly what I want to do. So I decided to go back to school and ultimately earned an MBA in sustainable business from Marylhurst University while I was living out west. Next slide, please. So as it turns out, you do actually have to pay the student loans back, or at least I did. And I had to get a real job. So while I was enjoying my time installing solar panels and trout bumming around Wyoming, I needed to find a job, preferably in the sustainability field. So I found one that was a biodiesel manufacturing startup in my hometown of Savannah. They went out of business after a year after I had just relocated back to Savannah, and with my now wife Jody, she was thrilled with that. Anyway, that led me back to Charleston, or up to Charleston, where obviously I live here today. And so I moved up to Charleston to work at a green building software technology startup. They also went out of business after 4 years. So I figured at that point I made a huge mistake and need to consider a different career path, or I'm the cooler, one of the two. But anyway, in the back of my mind, I had always wanted to, I guess, try and marry fly fishing and sustainability, but I didn't really know how to do that. So I started doing a lot of volunteering, doing oyster reef restoration, as you see here, but wasn't able to quite fit all those pieces together. Next slide, please. Until I decided, well, okay, if I was going to create like my dream job, it would be to marry fly fishing and sustainability. And so I launched Emerger Strategies in 2016 and started targeting companies in the fly fishing industry. And so I essentially assessed these businesses, saw that they were giving back to conservation as they should, but no one was really doing anything to clean up their own act. And so I decided to start cold calling these companies, and one thing led to another, and started bringing on more clients. And we'll get into some of what that looks like here in just a minute. But next slide, please. So along the way, I started a podcast, The Sustainable Angler, and was lucky enough to get to interview sort of my business hero, if there's such a thing, is Yvonne Chenard. And I also founded the Fly Fishing Climate Alliance, and that is made up of fly fishing guides, shops, lodges, brands, and nonprofits that are committed to net zero emissions by 2050. And I'll mention that the intent of the Sustainable Angler is really to educate and inspire anglers to protect the planet. Next slide, please. So as I was, sort of following my passion of fly fishing and marrying that with sustainability, some pretty cool things have also happened. In addition to getting to interview Yvonne Chenard, I was asked to be in this movie called Drop that my friend Hillary Hutchison had written, and it's about following a drop of water from the continental divide all the way out to the ocean and meeting people along the way that are working on climate solutions. And I was lucky enough to be a part of that. If anyone's interested, that is on the Protect Our Winters YouTube page if you'd like to watch the whole film. It's pretty neat. Next slide, please. So I say all that, and you're probably wondering, okay, well, what is it exactly that you do? So we offer a variety of sustainability consulting services, sort of on the sustainability or ESG side. We do everything from sustainability assessments to creating strategic sustainability plans to sustainability reporting. We offer carbon management services, such as greenhouse gas inventory, measuring your carbon footprint, setting science-based targets for net zero emissions, as well as helping our customers actually create climate action plans that where they can actually reduce their footprint. And then we also offer compliance and certification management services. So some of our clients sell products to REI or Walmart, Target, and those businesses are now required to submit their scope 1, 2, and 3 greenhouse gas emissions through the Carbon Disclosure Project. And for a lot of these companies, that is basically speaking Greek to them. They don't understand it. So we help guide them through that process. We also help our clients achieve climate neutral certification, which means that we measure their scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. For those who may not be as familiar with what that means, your scope 1 emissions are basically direct emissions, so company owned and controlled vehicles, and what you use for heating, so whatever you're combusting on site, for example. Your scope 2 emissions are your purchased electricity emissions. And your scope 3, which is the bear, is your value chain emissions. So that's everything from your upstream supply chain all the way down to shipping goods to customers. And so we help our clients measure scope 1, 2, and 3, create climate action plans and reduction strategies. And for those companies who want to purchase carbon offsets for all of their emissions, they can achieve climate neutral certification. We also help our clients with zero waste certifications, meaning that if you can document and verify that you're diverting 90% or more of your waste from the landfill through things like composting or recycling, that you can achieve zero waste. Next slide, please. So what sets us apart in Emerger Strategies, the way that I have viewed this is, we're really an outsourced sustainability team. So, a lot of particularly small businesses, which are the vast majority of my clients, they don't have the resources to hire a sustainability manager, or it's something that's on their radar, but they don't have the bandwidth and the time to dedicate towards it. And so we help fill that role for them. We deliver measurable results, and I'll get to that here in a minute, but with some more specific examples, but also, which is really important in today's marketplace, you not only have to worry about greenwashing, right, which is, basically giving yourself too much credit for what you're doing on the sustainability front, but now there's a new thing called green hushing, which means companies are doing amazing things and they're scared to talk about it for fear of being accused of greenwashing. So we help our clients tell credible sustainability stories that's based on data and third-party certification. And in addition to that, we walk the walk. We are a 1% for the Planet member since our inception, meaning we donate 1% of our annual sales to environmental nonprofits. We are also a climate neutral certified business. Next slide, please. So to give you a better sense of the types of results that we bring for our clients, we have saved our clients over, and last year, we're looking at 2023, over $100,000 by outsourcing the sustainability work, because then they're not having to recruit, interview, train, and retain a full-time sustainability team. Probably one of our better success stories is Z-Man Fishing Products. They make fishing lures here around Charleston. We came in, did a sustainability assessment, evaluated their energy use. It was really high. At that time, I think it was around $100,000 a year. And so we were able to work with them to install solar on the roof to where they're not only eliminated their power bill, they created a new revenue stream because they're delivering more power to the grid than they use. And it's also reduced their carbon footprint. And I'll get into a more specific example, but whenever you tell a credible sustainability story and you communicate that effectively, that will typically lead to an increase in customer loyalty, which we've demonstrated with our customers, an increase of 58%. I mentioned that we do sustainability assessments. On average, our clients come in and have a score of 37%. After 12 months of working with us, they are at an 80% on their assessment score. So that's 116% average improvement in sustainability performance. Last year, we measured over 50,000 metric tons of CO2e. We helped 3 clients achieve carbon neutrality. 2 clients achieve climate neutral certification. And with all of our clients, we're helping them set science-based targets, establish greenhouse gas reduction targets with a climate action plan, and actually meet their reduction goals. Next slide, please. So why would you want to, the part of the reason of me telling you all the story of, hey, I went and worked at a biodiesel manufacturing startup and it went out of business. And I went to work for a green building software company and it went out of business. Those were good ideas, but just because it's green doesn't mean it makes business sense. And so what I I really focus on with my clients is helping them understand and deliver the business case for sustainability. For it to be a good business decision, we need to be looking how this is going to reduce your cost. How is this going to enhance your brand reputation? How is this going to increase your loyalty? And one of the most underrated facts I would say about sustainability is that it really helps your business attract and retain talent, because not only do employees want to work for a company that aligns with their values, your customer wants to support your company because it aligns with their values. So next slide, please. So and we can go ahead and skip to the next one. I'm just going to take y'all really quickly here through a case study. Reptor Water, they are a small apparel manufacturer. I started working with them in 2016 when they were actually my second client. And first thing we did was do an assessment, create baselines. We delivered their first sustainability report, which we have done annually. We set goals for them, which they started to achieve. And this is what I mean by, this is how you build credible communication, okay? Because they are communicating to their customers and their stakeholders where we are, the good and the bad, not just, hey, we did all these great things. It's also, we couldn't find a solution for X, Y, and Z, and that's something that we're working on. So it's also about being transparent. And along the way, we started not only looking at their operations, but their products and their packaging, right? So they started incorporating organic cotton. And eventually we ended up getting them to achieve zero waste in their operations, as well as climate neutral certification. Next slide, please. But really the success story here is with Reptor Water is how we were able to help them deliver the business case. So the time frame that we looked at was 2016 to 21. Their revenues increased 87%. New customer traffic increased 31%. But the real success story is we measured first-time customers versus customer. So we took a baseline, then we measured how many of these customers are coming back now since we started telling your sustainability story, and that increased 58%. So not only do customers want to support a brand that aligns with their values, but they'll also become evangelists for the brand, right? They want to share it with their friends. Hey, you got to check this out. I'm giving this as a gift now. So it's really, really rewarding to see that happen for a company to be rewarded for just doing the right thing. So next slide, please. So yeah, I guess that's the end of my presentation. We're pretty close to the top of the hour here, but what I recommend with all my clients is, for me, it's fly fishing, and I want to protect what I love, but we all have reasons that we love being, that we love nature, we love the low country. We love South Carolina. We love living here, and there's things that we want to protect: our culture, our food, the wildlife, the fishing, the everything that it has to offer. And so I think a lot of businesses miss that their business is directly connected to the environmental health of our planet. And so when you start to measure and improve your sustainability performance, you are in effect protecting what you love. So thanks for everyone's time today. Oh yeah, and if you'd like to scan the QR code, feel free to reach me directly. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much, Rick. That was some really valuable information, and the certifications that you offer, I might get in touch with you for the zero waste certification, because I'm trying to get Climb Fund there. So I'll be in touch.
Actually,
yeah.
Sorry, I know, Jenny, you had asked about some more resources. Just real quick, I didn't mention this. If you're looking for resources for tax incentives and things like that, there's a website. It's called DSIRE. I think it's .org, but it's the database for, I can't remember, for state and renewables or something like that. But NC State hosts it. But anyway, you can look up in South Carolina and it will ask where you're from, and it will provide you with all of the federal, state, and local incentives for things like energy efficiency, renewable energy. Also look at anything related with the Inflation Reduction Act. For small businesses, lots of good incentives there. So for example, if you want to upgrade to a heat pump, which I did at my house, and it reduced our natural gas use 87%, it'll provide incentives to make upgrades that make your operations more and businesses more energy efficient. So just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. I found it like lightning, and I put it in the chat. So if anyone's interested, I'm going to research this too. I think this would be a great resource for us to share as well. Thank you so much, Rick. I think we have time. I know that's 2 o'clock, but we can try to ask a couple questions. Let's see. All right. Okay. So Megan, I have a question for you. Climb Fund has a lot of clients who own and operate food trucks and catering businesses. Do you have any advice for them who want to compost but don't know where to start because they don't have a brick and mortar? Oh, wait, you're muted. Sorry. Thank you.
Turned on my video, but not the mic. Okay. Great question. I haven't quite figured out how to tackle that. I've had that conversation with a few people. I think the solution is to have some sort of like, are they parking in a central location? Are they utilizing a ghost kitchen? Is there some, central location that we could pull them together? I guess the other option would be to have some sort of like drop-off service at Smart where those food trucks could, like pay a fee to, but we'd have to definitely figure that out. I think that the tricky part there is with them being mobile, like where would we get the service at? I mean, if they don't have somewhere that they're commercially parking their truck, maybe they are, running it, bringing it home with them and parking it at home. We do have customers who have a cart at their home. Like, for example, we have a small business florist who works, her floral business out of her home. And so where we actually provide service is there. She has a cart there. She rolls it out for her service day and we pick it up. So, I mean, that's certainly an option if they're able to bring that food waste. I mean, obviously they've got it on their truck. If they bring it back to some central location, whether that's their home or a place where multiple utilize one can or one service, I think there is some possibilities there for sure.
Great, thank you. The world is our oyster. There's so many options, and yeah, I'm sure there are a lot that would be interested, but getting creative with it would be some avenue to go down. But thank you, Megan. So I'm going to ask Rick one question, and then Jenny will ask you a question, and then we'll have to be done. But a question from Thomas Gorman for Rick. How does an MBA in sustainable business differ from more run-of-the-mill MBAs? And how many of your clients would you classify as small businesses?
So the sustainable MBA and sustainable business differs. So like instead of just understanding economics, we study natural resource economics. So in addition to financial accounting, you understand greenhouse gas accounting. So it's just essentially taking a run-of-the-mill MBA and looking at it through a lens of sustainability and sort of adding those skill sets to it, if that makes sense. And as far as how many of my clients would I classify as small businesses, 90%. It's, I think what I've seen happen is that, particularly bigger companies, they're going to have an in-house sustainability person. Now they may outsource a consultant like me to help, do some of the work, but they have in-house sustainability people. And it's, the small to medium enterprises, less than 500 employees. And, like Retro Water, they had 2 employees. I mean, so the gamut ranges, they're vastly small businesses. And I think that whatever the statistic is, it's something like 95% of all businesses are small businesses. So there's huge opportunity to help smaller companies get on track, do the right things, get the processes in place to set yourself up for success as you grow and scale your business.
Great, thank you. And what a great question, Thomas. Thank you so much. This will be our last question. This is from Megan for Jenny. Has Atlyss been able to track how successful the free month of compost now has been? How sticky are they?
What do you mean by how sticky are they?
Megan, could you explain?
Yes, sorry. So I was just asking, have you been able to track the customers that are signed up for the free service? Have they stuck around and started paying for the service with Compost now? Have they found benefit in it? I was just wondering if you were tracking that or not.
We don't track it, but Compost Now tracks it, and they send us a report.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head how. I don't have those numbers. I could look it up and definitely share it with you if you'd like, though.
Okay. I just think I'm glad you were able to partner with them. And I think that's a great way to do that. I know we've talked about how to reclaim some of what goes out, and we're still trying to find the best solution. But for now, I'm glad that that's helping, that they've worked with you on that.
All right. Can you provide what was discussed again? Great. Well, thank you all again, all the panelists for joining us. Can you go to the next slide, please? Mm-hmm. I need to have the slide to say thank you too, but thank you all so much for your time and commitment to this, sharing the information you guys have, and working with your businesses, and it's really inspirational. So I hope to work with you all in the future, and happy Earth Month, everyone. Happy Earth Month. But thank you all again. This meeting will be, this webinar is recorded, so it will be available on YouTube and eventually our website. But if you have any questions, any more questions that we weren't able to answer, you can shoot an email to intake@climbfund.org, and they'll be passed along to the correct person to get your answers. But thank you again, and have a great month of April, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.